Subscribe and download over 1 million code snippet including this tutorial from codegive.com, link in the description below. Tutorial, Understanding Python File Flush. In Python, file flush is a mechanism used to ensure that data written to a file is actually physically written to the underlying storage, such as a disk. This tutorial will explain the concept of file flushing, why it's important, and how to perform file flushing in Python code. Why is file flushing important? When you write data to a file in Python, the operating system may not immediately write that data to the disk. Instead, it may keep the data in a buffer and write it to the disk at a later time for efficiency reasons. This buffering mechanism can improve performance by reducing the number of disk writes. However, there are situations where you might need to ensure that the data is written to the disk immediately, rather than waiting for the buffer to flush automatically. For example, if your program terminates unexpectedly, any buffered data that has not been flushed to disk may be lost. To prevent data loss in such scenarios, you can explicitly flush the file buffer. Flushing a file in Python. In Python, you can flush a file buffer using the flush method provided by file objects. This method forces any buffered data associated with the file to be written to the underlying storage. Here's how you can use the flush method. In this example, we open a file named example.txt in write mode, write the string hello, world, to the file, flush the file buffer using the flush method, and then close the file. Calling flush ensures that the data is written to the disk immediately. Automatic flushing. In Python, file buffers are typically flushed automatically when the file is closed. However, there may be situations where you need to flush the buffer manually, such as when you want to ensure that data is written to disk before performing other operations. When to flush a file. You should consider flushing a file whenever you need to ensure that the data you've written to it is persisted to disk immediately. Some common scenarios where file flushing may be necessary include critical data. If the data you're writing is critical and must not be lost, you should flush the file buffer to ensure that the data is written to disk promptly. Progress reporting. If your program is performing a long-running operation and you want to provide progress updates by writing to a log file, flushing the file buffer ensures that the progress updates are visible in the log file in real time. Inter-process communication. If multiple processes are writing to the same file, flushing the file buffer can ensure that data written by one process is immediately visible to other processes. Conclusion. In Python, file flushing is an important concept to understand, especially in situations where data persistence is critical. By using the flush method, you can ensure that data written to a file is immediately written to the underlying storage. Understanding when and how to flush file buffers can help you write more robust and reliable Python programs. ChatGPT